This hard drive died. Deader than a doornail, not spinning, no nothing. Bookkeeper's computer for a client, the only computer in the office that accesses time slips for this law office. The other computers just do timekeeping, which
DougBot
is
said,
done
hey,
through
is
the
this thing
web.
on?
I heard SpeakerBot there. How good was my disaster preparedness? Preparedness. Was there a panic? Sam Lazar sent an issue by email. Another one having to do with email, a little different twist on this one. I have a client who sent an email about Windows 10, gave them a little bit of a panic, but he kind of panics every time he sees such an email. I told him, no, we have this under control. But it led me down an interesting trail. We might get into that. AI learning curve. Oh my gosh. Using AI to program scripts, PowerShell scripts and batch file scripts. Holy moly, do I have stories on that. New Outlook that I talked about last week. Oh man, I was not happy. I was not happy with what I discovered live during the show, and I regret doing that during the show. I'm not sure how I feel about exploring unknown territories, but the catch is, after the show, it got worse. My opinion of New Outlook got worse after the show when I discovered something else. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? But yet I have it queued up to use today for email on the show. Why is that? And then the last thing on my list is activating the extended support from Microsoft. I could actually connect. I have a client's computer who I could connect to because it's pretty simple and easy to mask off their proprietary stuff, their identifying stuff, and I have permission to use their computers and stories for educational purposes on my YouTube channel. So that's what I have up my sleeve. Did I get an audio check? I did not get that yet. There, I've got it now. I'm going to go take a look at chat, which means you're going to go take a look at chat too. Oh, I have plans to get rid of this part, to do this in a way that I don't have to come to this screen because I do not like it. I do not like this screen, Sam. I do not like green eggs and ham. Ken Stout, Rick Lakes, John Williams. Hello. Alice Jones. Hello. Marsman, Chris Garrett, Scott. Hello to you all. Welcome. Good to see you. Let's see, all from Coleman, Wisconsin. We hope to stay to the end of the show. I hope you do too. People saying hellos to each others. John Williams. Hello. And what other names? I'm not trying to read through all these unless somebody specifically addresses me. I say that at the same time that I'm reading through them silently in my head. So much silent stuff goes on in my head, you just don't know. Greg M, hello. Frigging Amazon. Looks like some played Stomp on the Box, holding the CPU game. The box that's holding the CPU game. They used packing on only 2 of the 6 sides of the boxes. And of course, severely bashed in the side that had no packing. Yeah, I've seen that a lot, where they put packing on the other sides, but the thing you ordered is up against one of the sides of the box. How does that make sense? Jim's out to lunch. That's a double entendre in that meaning, I guess. He says something later. Yeah, he's out to lunch. Getting a lot of questions. Some don't know how to enable ESU. Of course, it's not real obvious. Easy if you're okay with a Microsoft account in particular. Phil Stott, hello. Yeah, Jim's saying I doubt she even notices a difference when I move her to 11. Oh, that will likely set her off. Okay, well, I'm not going to try to figure out that conversation. That sounds like two different directions of thought. And Israel, hello. Tim Cruz, hello. Yeah, we'll get back to lives during the week. Oh, 25H2. It jumped on me. There it was. I did a upgrade, an in-place upgrade from Windows 10 to Windows 11 on a Dell computer, and it went straight to 25H2. That was interesting. I don't really care one way or the other, but hello, Robert. And he says good morning to the afternoon. John's happy with his new desk. I don't think it means new desk, the software. I'm assuming a physical new desk. Chris has extended support. Marsman activated extended yesterday. Celestia Guru, hello. Reminder to those saying they've gotten extended support is remember that's not what you're getting, only extended security updates, no bug fixes. Yeah, I'm not in the know about that. I heard a little differently, and I haven't checked into it, that some form of security updates will continue even if you don't do the extended support. And the extended support does get you more than just security updates. Of course, it doesn't get you cumulative updates, but those stopped a couple of years ago. So anyway, I'm not real clear on what that covers, but the one thing that I think it will cover is if you get the extended support, hopefully there'll be less nuisance messages about the end of Windows 10 support. Greg, also make sure you log into the user account on Windows 10 that is using Microsoft account sign in every 60 days to keep your ESU enrollment in force. Yeah, my understanding is if you sign into Microsoft account and then sign out so that you're actually using a local account on a daily basis, that according to this, every 60 days, I haven't verified that, you'll have to log in to the Microsoft account. On my clients' computers that I anticipate using this, it's likely I'm just going to let the computer sign in to Microsoft account. It's not that big of a deal. Unless you're a really uptight security advocate and you just got to, I don't want them having access to my stuff. Like anybody cares. You're not that important. Sorry to burst your bubble. Now, most of my clients, they're not going to care or notice that their computer's signing in with the Microsoft account. If we use the Windows Hello, for instance, I would probably change it to the alphabetic rather than PIN number, so that they use their same password that they're accustomed to using, and they don't have to type in their Microsoft account password every time they log in. They can log in with Windows Hello using a PIN number or an alphanumeric PIN number, which could be configured to be the same as the password that they're used to using. for the occasional computers that I wind up doing that. Zavi Manor, hello. At the beginning of the show, I listed some topics I have on hand. If you have any preferences, you're free to speak up about that. Domain 2000, hello. No new features, but security updates. Okay, so how about bug fixes? I'm inclined to think they will do bug fixes, but I haven't checked into documentation on that. It's just not that big of a concern among my support for my clients because we're replacing other computers. Speaking of which, there's another box of incoming. What could that possibly be? It's 60 days now also for USA. I don't really, I'm not going to trust what anybody says about that until I see actual documentation from Microsoft. So far, I haven't seen anybody link documentation, but I haven't gone out looking for it either. Again, it's not at the top of my list to research. Kind of a nothing burger. A Galaxy tablet, yeah, a Windows support channel. I'm not really eager for that. Okay, caught up there. So how about story time? Client calls. Now I'll give you a little explanation. This is one of the law offices, not the Law 40 office. And they have an outside bookkeeper. She has her own business where she does bookkeeping for multiple different clients of hers. She connects remotely to a computer that's inside my client's office, our mutual client's office, and she launches time slips. Time slips is a program for pretty much law offices. It's really specifically designed for law offices. And they have an element on the server in the office. It's a peer-to-peer server. It's not an actual real server, but it's a dedicated computer, Windows 10 at the moment. Hint, hint. And they have one license for time slips. They have 5 timekeepers in the office. I think two attorneys, a paralegal, and a front office person. But they all enter their time slips through the web interface. So we don't have to have licenses for them. So we have one license. The computer that has that one license hard drive crashes. That's not what she called and told me. She didn't know the hard drive crashed. So what she said is I can't connect remotely to the computer. And my instant flash was that, is this one of the offices that I have converted from LogMeIn to remote PC because it's less expensive and it works better. A lot less expensive. I wasn't certain, but I thought that was probably the case. And I thought maybe I neglected to reconfigure the bookkeeper's computer because she's at a different physical location. When she called me, she said, I can't connect through LogMeIn. I thought, oh my gosh, did I forget to convert her computer? And that's what I thought happened. So I replied to her, I think it was actually text message, and said, no, I will have to take care of that. I'm not at a location right now where I can connect and check it out. And then she replied, is this something you can talk me through? And I said, no, I don't think so. I'm going to have to deal with it because I was thinking at that time that this is one that I had converted, but it was not. This office is still on LogMeIn until that subscription ends. And then I'll move them over, because if I move them over now, they have that unused subscription time. So that's why they're not converted yet. So I tried connecting to the office through my LogMe and Rescue, and it shows offline. I go to the office and to check on it, and it doesn't have a monitor attached. It looks like the power's on. Now, I actually called one of the people in the office, and I asked them, go over, look at the computer, see if it looks like it's on. They get on the phone with me over at that location, say, yeah, it looks like it's on. There's no monitor. They can't tell for sure. Okay. Look at the back of the computer for the Ethernet cable. They had to kind of pull it out of the slot, and they actually gave me pictures of it. And I said, okay, disconnect and reconnect both ends of that Ethernet cable. Did that. Did not come up. No joy. All right. Press and release the power button. She pressed and released it, watched for a minute, and it appeared to shut down. The power light went out. Okay. Turn it back on. She does that. Wait for a couple minutes and still does not become available to me. So then I said, okay, I'll be out there and soon. So I was out there within about an hour. The book at this point, the bookkeeper is a little bit antsy because she's very methodical and routine and keeps up to date on everything. So to not be able to connect and do her routine bookkeeping work, it's not a crisis for the business. They're still able to work. People are still able to enter their time slips through the web interface. But still, it feels urgent. So when I go out there, I'm seeing the same thing that the employee described to me, and I attach my portable monitor and a wireless keyboard and mouse, and I see it's at that prompt for trying to connect to a remote boot server. What's that? Somebody came up with that acronym last time, trying to boot from a server. No, that's not it. I was looking over PXE. Thank you, Greg. You're right. PXE and Greg and Randy Israel came up with that. So I'll throw you some points for rescuing me from that brain fade. Oops, I didn't do that right. See, because I don't do things often enough. Do that this way. And then let's give Ran also, because you're right on, both of you are right there on the ball with it. Yeah, I know Greg got it first. And then Doman 2000 came in with that. All three of those, right?
Read chat, please.
Right in a row. Let's give you that one too. I'm going to have to give you a little bit less points for being number third, Doman. Okay. So in the midst of my story, hello, David Kausch. Don't forget to mark the address with black Sharpie in the Amazon box. I'm way ahead of you. I'm way ahead of you. You can tell right from there. I was wondering if anybody would nab me on that. Thank you, Zavi. And that is legit points too. All right. No, that feels too cheap. Let's go throw that same one on him again. Jeff Ryman, hello. Lawn Dog, more listening than participating. That's fine. And right away, he comes in with another message. Don't you know it? Do you believe him? One in chat, if you believe that Lawn Dog is going to do more listening than participating today. 0 if you think, he's not going to be able to do that. He's going to keep talking. We love you, Lawn Dog. You know that. There we go. Oh, look at those zeros. They don't believe that you're going to be able to just sit back and listen. Oystein, hello. Well, that got some responses. So here he is again, right off the bat. Well, I have a saying. People ask you, how are you? I say, I am fine, but I lie a lot. I lie down when I'm drowsy. Last Amazon items came in with the label marked if I'd be interested in a job. There he is again. There he is again. I just have a few minutes off of the keyboard. That's all, at least. I had a conversation with the host. I just have a few minutes off the keyboard. That's all, at least. I had a conversation with the host. Okay, great. Whatever. Now, so how am I doing on that story? Oh yeah, so I take the computer back here to my lab and take it out of the computer and attach it by USB to another computer. See if I can access it all. I got nothing. I got nothing. I had, let's see, I don't have my stethoscope here. I have a couple stethoscopes. So I put my stethoscope on. And as I'm approaching the drive, I hear noise that sounds like that sounds like a drive spinning, but I hear that noise everywhere. So I put it on there and it goes dead. It's just dead silent. Nothing. No spin at all. So I'm not going to get anything from it. Now, at that moment in time, this is time slips. This is my only client that is still using time slips. I've had others in the past. When they went to a very expensive subscription model, a lot of them got away from it. And just this one continuing with it. So I'm thinking, does this completely run from this computer? What are the backups for it? How is this configured? Because that's not top of mind. Did I do a good job with preparing for disaster recovery? And it turns out, yes, I did. I just didn't remember it. So what happens is the main module is installed on the server in their office, a dedicated peer-to-peer server. It's only there for serving time slips. Not to all the users in the office, but to this one other computer that has the user license. Well, time slips can actually be launched and run at the server. So what I did is I simply configured the bookkeeper's home computer to be able to connect to the server so that she can do her daily minor bookkeeping work. Now, she doesn't actually do bookkeeping for it. She has QuickBooks on her computer at her remote office where she manages her clients, but she needs to access the time slips data. And when money comes in to pay for their services, she has to record that in time slips as well as in QuickBooks. So she's connecting regularly to update those records. So she's doing that now through the server until I get her replacement computer in. Now, since I have to rebuild this computer, which is fairly easy to rebuild because time slips is really the only thing that is used on that computer. So, this is not one of those environments where I would, even if I could have, would I have cloned it? No, not with time slips being the only thing. So the owner of the company is there. She's knowing that we have to replace all her computers. We haven't replaced any of them yet. So we got this situation here. So I talked to her while I'm there picking up that computer. I say, can I get your approval to just go ahead and buy all the computers for the office? We need 6 of them. Right here. So that we get, well, all of them replaced, including the non-dedicated server. Now, for the rest of their computers in their office, I'm going to do cloning. I'm not going to do the base image and then replicate that to the other computers. I'm pretty certain I'm going to clone each computer to the new computer. The reason for that is each of these computers are very different than the others because the different people in the office have different roles and they have different software. And to go find the licenses, the installation media, the configurations that are needed for each of those. It's definitely going to take longer. All those computers are working pretty well, and it is so much quicker to just do the clone operation. So what I'll be doing is checking them first to see if they're MBR partition style, and if so, upgrade to GPT on the old computers, then take an image and restore it to the new computers. After having exported the drivers, but these are B-Link computers. I already have the drivers exported, so I don't even have to do that, because these are the same model computers you've seen me doing over and over and over. So no panic, no worries, we're good. And then that non-dedicated server, it does backups to external drives every day, and it sends me email notifications that it was successful or whether there was a problem. And it also backs up to Magnusbox in the cloud. So we have the backup drives get rotated. The one thing that we're not doing there is they're not taking those drives off site. They do stay on site, but the cloud backup is an off-site backup. So I'm fine with that. Oh, the Amazon. I've got I have a um, auction yard about half a mile down the road from me where they auction vehicles that have been turned in from lease, among other things. They could be repossessions, they could be used car lots, selling vehicles at auction. And once in a while, we get a whole fleet of Amazon trucks in there that are up for sale by auction. Okay, has there been any comments, questions about my little adventure there? Jim's in DVR2 double speed. I like watching videos in 1.25 or 1.5 speed. Double speed, that's pretty fast. Some Facebook conversation going on. Crazy you had to buy a new computer. I don't know if he's talking about me. I don't understand why that's crazy. Seems totally sensible. Opinion on ESU, fine for those who can't move to 11, waste of money if you have to pay for it for anyone who can't move. Yeah, there's three, I believe it's three options for getting it without. If you back up your settings, now I'm assuming that means you have to put in a Microsoft account for that. I think it's then sign in with the Microsoft account, and there was a third one, but there are ways to get the 1 year for free, no charge. Have you ever purchased a lease from Amazon resale auction? I think auction. I have purchased HP computers that were refurbished, and presumably they were lease returns. But if there's something on Amazon called resale auctions, no. I know they do, there's some things you can do with pallets, and no, I haven't even explored all
Read
that.
chat,
I've
please.
heard other people talk about it, not interested. Regarding the hard drive, it's dead, Jim. I think that's a Star Trek reference. Marsman, using Microsoft, oh, that's right. Microsoft Reward Points is another method. You can earn Microsoft Reward Points by doing searches on using the search engine in Edge, and that gains points. And you may have a lot of points that you don't even realize that you have. And I'm suspecting that you could use those points maybe on multiple computers. Yeah, that's right. That was the other item, Marsman. So thank you for adding that piece of knowledge. Yeah, that piece of something that escaped my recollection. Yeah, see, I'm not going to respond to some of these that are not Windows subjects. Okay. If anybody has a question about an issue that you're having with your own computers or somebody you're helping, this is the ideal time to come up with that. I think I'm going to turn to Sam Lazar's issue. Is Sam in chat? I don't remember saying hey to Sam. No, when I search for SAM, I get the word same. ESU enrollment requires a Microsoft account. That is mandatory. Yeah, I'm wondering about those points. Do you gain Microsoft reward points even if you're not signed in with a Microsoft account? I won't know until I look further out. What model B-Link PCs did you get for your client? It is the same model that I have been buying all along. It's 200. It's gone up in price. It's now $199.99. I'm going to bring it up on screen here. And then, well, let's go open the box, shall we? It's now called, well, it was B-Link Mini S12 when I started buying them. So now it's B-Link Mini S13. And since they went to this new model name, I've purchased 5 times. Now, each of those 5 purchases were multiple computers.
Read chat, please.
So it's 16 gigabytes. It's the N150, because that's what their almost bottom model is now. And I do the second up. I don't do this one because it is, oh, wait a minute. That's not even a, that was this, oh, yeah, mini PC desktop NAS. Network addressable, accessible storage. It doesn't have any drives in it, but it can take 6 M.2. So $210 for a NAS. Seems to me, I thought they had another lower model, but anyway, client's very happy with those. That last read chat. You mentioned licenses and cloning. Oops. From experience, not all licenses pass during cloning. For example, Office license does not pass during cloning. These are licenses based on the MAC address, and there are licenses based on computer equipment. True that. However, the software does pass. So that's not a big deal at all. What I do is after the clone operation, among other things, I'll launch Microsoft Word and sign in with the user credentials. Their preferences, all their configurations for Microsoft Word come across. So I don't have to go do any of their particular configurations. And there are a list of them that I typically do. A lot of that is my own, am I imposing my own preferences, but they're accustomed to what I have given them. So I put some items on the quick launch toolbar at the top that are not there by default. I set their default folder for opening files. I turn off the display of the, what do they call it? Not welcome screen, but if they click on the file open icon at the top, I want it to get straight to the browsing folders dialog window that they're accustomed to, rather than the welcome screen. That's not what they call it, something else. Some of the offices have custom templates, group templates that I would have to configure if I was installing from scratch. Jeff says, let's see, Jeff, where was it? I think it was Jeff that I just saw saying that. Oh no, here, Jim. Yeah, using Microsoft Reward still requires Microsoft account and log into it. So while you were accumulating those rewards, if you're on a computer that has not been signed into a Microsoft account, yet the user does have a Microsoft account and perhaps is authenticated to it for Microsoft Word, but it's not signing in Windows to that. Microsoft Edge on that computer, let's assume that it's not signed into a Microsoft account. It could be, even though Windows is not logging in with the Microsoft account. So will that computer have points stored up through Edge, even when Edge is not has not been signed in, and Windows is not signed in? So now if you go through that process of trying to access the extended support, can you then sign into the account then, and the points that that computer has accumulated will be attributed to that account? So that's a possibility, and still fits in with Jim's statement here, is when you go try to access or select the ESU based upon points, if this computer has points, has a Microsoft account, but has not been logging into Windows with it,
Why, certainly.
will that work? And I'm suspecting it will, and I think Selden has just given a response to that. Accumulated points without, yes, he says, I accumulated points without having a Microsoft computer login account. You accumulated points. Okay, so did you actually get the ESU based upon that? I would think you could. I'm assuming Tim's given a couple of things here, but you didn't say anything about what is there. I'm assuming it's on this topic. Be really helpful if you would make a little comment after that, why you're giving me that link. This is just about Microsoft Rewards. Does not directly answer my question. It might be buried in there somewhere, but that doesn't really answer it. If that actually answers
That's a
the
big
question,
10-4.
if you gave me, say, search for, if that's going to take me to the place in that link that actually answers that question, that's useful. But just giving me generic information, that's not useful. So now you have earned a reputation from me that your links aren't really going to get me a solution. And I'm less inclined to go look at your links. Just trying to point out how to be more useful. Selden Ball, I have ESU. I used Bing Image Creator a lot. Oh, in using the Image Creator, you earn points. Link to cashback as well. You gain free money back that gets sent to your PayPal account. Link to cashback. I guess he's trying to explain I don't know which of those links is for that. but he's saying you can get cash back by using by accumulating edge points. I didn't know that. That was for the second link. Okay. Oh, it's titled that. See, I if you didn't direct my thought to that, I wouldn't have even, that did not register. You saw me go to that link. Cashback did not register until you say that. Doug, why don't you instantly absorb everything that flashes in front of your eyes? I thought you could do that. No, that is not my superpower. Do you see a cape? Oh. As far as you know, I do have a cape. What is Microsoft Cashback? Formerly Bing Rebates, free program that gives Microsoft Rewards members cash back when they shop online. We're going to get cash back, earn cash back on groceries online as well from the most popular retailers. Ah, interesting. All right. Sam Lazar. Oh, I'm going to use the new Outlook to do this. I haven't told you yet what I'm disappointed about the new Outlook after the show last week. And apparently he's not watching currently, but he'll watch later. Am I happy with that level zoom? Let's go here. Oh, you know what? I'm going to do something else here. I'll link this and start a reply to him, give him a link in the part of the show where I started talking about it. And I guess I could just go ahead and send that to get it out of my way. Here we go. Hi, Doug. Hope you are going well and having a smooth day. I got a new client scheduled for Monday at 3 p.m. He's dealing with a familiar challenge, Outlook's inability to reliably sync contacts and calendars outside of an Exchange environment. I've run into this before. Initially, I worked around it using webmail-based calendar and contact tools, but eventually transitioned to Thunderbird Mail and later to Betterbird, which offered a better experience for having everything integrated. He previously used Outlook. Now, that was in a different environment. He hasn't done that for this client. This is a new client. I'm presuming, I'm understanding he has not met with this client yet at all. He previously used Outlook with Microsoft Exchange. You know what? I didn't notice that at this at my earlier read. At his workplace. Okay, I think I realized the nuance there. He previously used Outlook with Microsoft Exchange at his workplace. I'm emphasizing his workplace for a reason. So everything's synced seamlessly, email, contacts, and calendar. Now retired, he's using a quirky IMAP setup with his current provider. So it's a different email address because previously I was a work email address. His current provider in Outlook across his Windows 11 laptop, iPhone, and iPad. He'd like to continue syncing contacts and calendar, but as you know, Outlook doesn't play nicely with non-Exchange setups. True that I know that, but I don't come across that much. I have come across that, and I've had big headaches with it and found ways to deal with it. And I no longer have that client. I've suggested switching to clients that support CalDAV and CardDAV, Betterbird on Windows, Calendar, and Contact Card DAV. Dave? DAV? Potato? I don't know. What does it actually DAV stand for? Betterbird on Windows, Thunderbird Fork, and the built-in Apple apps on iOS. That should allow full sync across devices. The odd part is his IMAP config. Let's see. Now, Sam Lazar publishes his email address. He also actually publishes on the internet his phone number, but very kindly he removed his phone number. And I like that, Sam. I'd like for you to not include your phone number as much as possible because YouTube has taken down some of my videos when phone numbers appear on screen. The odd part is I'm at config. It doesn't look standard. He's unsure of who his actual email provider is. He mentioned Crazy Domains as the domain host. No, that's the registrar. And says he's using the same domain email setup as his wife's business, hrinside.com.au. I've attached a screenshot of his Outlook config, though it's low res, and he has redacted, blacked out, identifying parts of it. And thank you for doing that, Sam. If it turns out his provider doesn't support CardDave, I've considered, see how I do that? I use Dave where I used Dav before. It's kind of equal time. I've considered using his iCloud account as a fallback. I've done similar setups before to sync iPhone contacts with Windows via CardDAV. If you have any thoughts or suggestions, especially around identifying the provider, yes, or confirming CardDave support, I'd love to hear them. I've known this client and his wife for years. Okay, so before I said not met with him before, yeah, it says a new client, but he knows the people. We met through a mother's group about 24 years ago. So I'd like to get this right for them. Geez, Sam looks like he could be 24 years old. Did he meet as an infant? No, obviously he must be older. I don't know how old he is. I think he's told us before. And I got a ticket number because he opens trouble tickets when he sends questions to me, as though I'm actually a client of his. I'm going to take that off screen for a moment. Let's see what. Wrote. Yeah, I'm not sure what that piece meant. Oh, I've got some pictures. So I'm giving a little check over on these before I bring them up on screen. Can I zoom that in more? Not in this format. I cannot. It's preview, open copy. That's so download them, Doug. Oh, save as. No download button, just save as. Don't want to put them there. Oh, it's not. Let me just see if this is okay as is. Because basically what we're seeing here is the account information screen showing us IMAP settings. We're looking at the incoming mail section. He's blacked out portions. This outgoing mail section, you see that little triangle there. That section is collapsed right now. And we're seeing the domain name hrinside.com.au. And the incoming server is hrinside.com.au. So this tells me that they are hosting their own IMAP server, is what I understand this to be. I've had one or two occasions in the past where I had a new client, discovered that they were hosting their own email. We eventually got them out of that business because you need to be on top of your game for hosting email, in my opinion. And this is IMAP, so I'm suspecting that's kind of a legacy system that maybe has been there for a long time. Then the next picture. So now the incoming mail section is collapsed. We're seeing the outgoing mail section. The outgoing mail server is not HR Inside. It is a different name, and I can't quite make that out, but we do have a way of seeing that elsewhere. I think he actually gave me that somewhere. So it's saying that they are not providing their own outgoing mail services, but they're using probably their ISP for that. Then pop on IMAP account settings. So we see the account name, an email address. That your name is not actually quite a person's name. And incoming mail server, that's the hrinside.com.au, and the outgoing mail server is that other name. So that's showing me that, yeah, they're hosting their own mail server for incoming mail, and they're using an outside service for the outgoing mail. Now, this is his wife's business, his wife's company. I'd be thinking that they probably ought to be making some changes there, because as my understanding, you got to be on top of your game to be hosting your own mail services, to be sure that you're not vulnerable, because you're opening that computer to the whole internet. So they have they probably have their router set up with a port forwarding so that any incoming email can be routed to that computer, which means you have open ports to your network. Is the rest of your network adequately protected? Be concerned about that. Not an area that I'm an expert in, but know enough to be concerned about it. They might have a IT person top of their game that is managing that, but why would you want to manage IMAP? Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so let's go look at some information about this. I did check up a little bit on this beforehand. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to go here to MX Toolbox. I have a paid account on MX Toolbox. And I just want to get mxtoolbox.com. And I'm going to take it off screen once in a while, since I'm not certain what comes up next. Yeah, it goes straight to here. And then hrinside.com.au. So we can find out some information about this. And this defaults to MX lookup. Notice this button here. I can't change to anything else. When I click on that button, it gives a first report, and then I've got this drop-down list. So I can change to a different function. Who is lookup is something I frequently go to. Click on who is, and this gives me information about them. So their name server is CyraHost. Now that outgoing server name, let's see if that was, and notice I don't even have my email tab here anymore. So I can't accidentally go expose something that away. Let's go back and look at that outgoing DS network. So like 2 or 3 letters there, a 01 DS network. It's the outgoing mail server. Don't see that anywhere in here. But there's another place we can go for that if we get around to it. Query string, registrar. No, that's registrar. Who is server? Registrar URL. So the registrar is Crazy Domains. He mentioned the client mentioned crazy domains. That's the registrar service that registered the domain for the person or company that owns the domain. They just said, okay, you want this domain.com, and we'll assign it. You have it now, you own it. That's what the registrar does. It's the registrar's name, the registrar's abuse contact. If somebody wants to report something going bad, server renew prohibited, which was a curious thing. I haven't looked into why it would say that. Not currently eligible for renewal. Registrant contact name. So this would be the person who registered the domain name. Tech contact ID number. That would be an ID with, I think the ID would be with crazy domains. And the tech contact name, first name private, last name tech. Name server, Sierra host. So when you register a domain, there's a domain, a name server that is the authoritative source for your domain. When we do web searches, we have a DNS setting on your computer that tells your computer what DNS server that you want to use for searching websites. You might be using the Google domain names. Is that 1.1.1.1 and 8.8.8.8, and there's some other standards, and your service provider might have their own when you're just using the default. If I go to look at my command prompt IP config and do this on your own computer, and /all, and then scroll up to here to see your DNS servers. So that one's a Comcast server, and I think that one is a Google server. That 1.1 and the 8.8, I think they're Google servers. That kind of stuff is in one ear and out the other. I don't really care that much. But that machine at 75.75.75.75 is going to then look to other DNS servers on the network saying, who has this name? It's going to ask for that name. Who has this name? And eventually the authoritative source that is looked to by all the rest of the world is this SierraHost.com. Eventually, everyone gets directed to that. All they do, they don't actually go all the way to it. They just need to get the answer somewhere to an IP address, to a DNS server that will give them the correct IP address for a domain
Read chat,
name.
please.
And Rand Israel says Google is 8.8.8.8 and 8.8.4.4. Yeah, that 1.1 is somebody else. If you gave me multiple choice, I think I could get it. I almost like the name is on the tip of my tongue. Somebody's going to bring that up in chat because it's easy to find.
Read chat, please.
Cloudflare. That's right. Oystein says Cloudflare. Okay. So that answers who Crazy Domains is. That answers who the registrant is probably the owner of that company, or maybe an IT person of that company, and maybe an IT company that set it up a long time ago and is no longer involved. The last update of the Whois database, October 11th, today. That doesn't mean they did anything on it today. I think that's just MX Toolbox. Maybe it's their update. So when did this, let's see, last modified October 1st. That modification is also probably not something they did intentionally themselves. Do we actually get a creation date here? I don't see that. I'm not into this area very often. I'm not into this service very often. I got a paid account on this when I had a client who was having trouble with their IP addresses being hijacked. And somebody using their IP address to send out junk from some other location. Okay, now where I want to go next. Let's see, what is there's something else I had in my mind to go look up for them. Now, the actual question that Sam is coming to is what to do regarding the email. So, oh, I know. Here's what I wanted to do. Let's okay, I've given you my take on this. Let's take a copy of this. I have not asked any AI anything about this yet. So I took all of that and then oh, there's new Outlook. Escape out of that. And copy that. Go off screen for a moment so I can get to, let's use, yeah, I think I want to use Copilot for Microsoft Edge. It seems with the GPT-5 because it seems to be quicker and be able to access web content better. So here I just brought up Edge, come up to Copilot. Now it's already wide because I use it quite a lot, but it defaults to this little panel on the right side. So make it wider. And then I'm going to paste those two items. Yeah, I'm not going to ask any, I'm not going to go re-ask the question or edit it at all. Just paste it in there. You're absolutely right to steer him toward CalDev, CardDev, compatible clients. Outlook's refusable to play ball outside Exchange is a recurring headache. Based on the WHOIS data for hrinside.com, the domain is registered through crazy domains, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're hosting the email. Yeah, we know that. Oh, I didn't give the pictures. Do I dare? Yes, I dare. You know I dare. Double Doug dare. You know what? I'm gonna All right, I'll do it this way. I'll just copy and paste. I was gonna download. These aren't very good resolution, but we know that. So this was the first of the pic. No, there's one to the left. Better take that off screen because I'm not sure where it's going to go to. No, it didn't go anywhere to the left. Okay, so it should just be showing these three pictures, not any other pictures. So copy that one, right arrow, and copy that one. And switch back here and Windows key V. There's the first of those three, Windows key V, the second of those three, Windows key V, the third of those three.
Read chat, please.
And I'm just going to send that. Oh, Sam is here. Thank you, Zvi. And Zvi says the domain hrinside.com.au is hosted by Web Central for the website. But is there, they may or may not have a server inside their building. We should be able to look at up those DNS IP addresses to see if the IP address for their incoming mail server looks substantially different than Web Central, which means that those could be being directed to their in-house machine to serve incoming mail. Okay, so let's see. Probably want to go all the way back up here. That was Sam's message. Here's modular breakdown to help you evaluate the provider and fallback options. Check the MX records. Yeah, so I gave them that using a DNS lookup. I gave the AI that already. MX1 mail filter dot often linked. Now this is generic, isn't it? Once you've identified the host, check their documentation or admin panel for Cal Dave, Card Dave. Here's a quick reference. Crazy Domains does not support Cal Dave, Card Dave. These others do. If the provider doesn't support, iCloud is a solid fallback. Modular strategy. Windows 11 Better Bird. iPhone, iPad using the integrated apps, and web access using iCloud. You can optionally add TB Sync, Thunderbird, I suppose, post provider, for CalDev, CardDev to Betterbird for seamless integration. Bonus diagnostic script for MX and CalDev. Check. Yeah, I don't see any reason to be attracted to that. I've been doing a lot of scripting stuff with Copilot from Edge specifically. That's probably why it offered that to me. Can I zoom that? No. Oh, see, the zooming is happening over here on the web content. I can't zoom for the Copilot content. Got 3 domains in play. All are configured for IMAP. None show signs of CalDev, CardDev endpoints or Exchange-like sync capabilities. Mail is routed through a custom or white label provider. Now, that could be if the incoming mail server is a white label provider and it makes it just look like it's them, that would probably be a better way to go than hosting it themselves. But that office is not Sam's client. Sam's client is the retired husband of the woman who, as I understand, owns this business, which could wind up becoming a client for Sam, although they might have their own full-time IT department, for all I know. What do we got here? Clue source. Who is registrar, SMTP? Check MX records. I already gave MX records, didn't I? No, I did who is. All right. So we probably ought to move on to that. Wait, where's the... Oh, there's the pictures I gave. Classic post-exchange sync headache. Is that still Exchange even though they're using IMAP? That could be. That could be. All are configured with IMAP SMT, but none show signs or Exchange-like sync capabilities. I don't know. Is IMAP SMTP is kind of an old way of doing email, to my understanding. I don't know if that's Exchange. Okay, let's get the MX records. Where is it? Where is it? It's on my Chrome browser. Here. Oh, I don't. this is the Who Is section. So when I choose a different item from here, it gives me at the top, and then everything else scrolls down. MX is the mail. So does that look like the incoming mail server that we saw in the photos? Incoming mail server. No, it was the hrinside.com.au. Outgoing mail server. That dot network on the end. Yeah, that's definitely not them. That's some service. But the hrinside.com.au is what we're interested in. hrinside.com.au. Host name. Oh, that has the dot network. au.ds.network. ds.network. Yeah, so I think that is the same entity. When I click on that, what do I get? Okay, so now it's giving me a DNS lookup for them. I feel like I'm kind of getting, I'm going down the rabbit hole there. Is there anything that we really care about down this way? Because really the question that Sam was facing is what to do about their the email sync across the devices. Now, this person is newly retired. Well, I'm saying newly. Is this a new email address that he's not heavily invested in? If his top concern is about synchronizing between his devices, how about having a conversation along the line of how married are you to this email address? Yeah, I know he's married to his wife that is hosting the email service, but would he be interested in a new email address to use going forward? Perhaps forwarding the emails from the old address to his new account so that he can be using a new account that is modern and will sync easily across all of his devices so that this headache goes away. To use these different email applications feels to me like jumping through hoops, and it can be justified if he's got a real reason to want to keep using that account that is hosted by his wife's business. So I think that means his email address is at hrinside.com.au. Is that really a good address for him to be using if he's not actually employed by the company? So that's where I'm thinking, and I'm guessing you haven't really had a conversation with this person about this yet. So when you go out and meet with him, Sam, I think that ought to be part of the conversation. Is it time to get you away from this email address, which I think must be hrinside.com unless they have some other domain name that they are hosting. And that apparently is not the company that he used to work for, because the company that he used to work for had Microsoft Exchange. Oh, there he says. He gives an answer, a response to that. Let's bring up his response. Now, he says it's an existing email he has used for years. So it's quite likely that he has a lot of accounts, a lot of web services, that he has accounts with that email address. But this still might be a possible thing for him to get a new email address And is that actually his wife's business domain name that is? Now, if he were to get a new email address that syncs easily across devices, then he could forward emails from the inside HR inside, whatever, to the new address. Instead of forwarding, he could configure the email clients to be able to send and receive emails utilizing that account. Now, how would that work for the syncing? I think the syncing would still work because he'd be doing that from a primary account of his new email address and just have those email clients configured to be able to send
Read
and
chat,
receive
please.
from that other account as well. That way, people who are already sending email to him using the old email address can continue doing that. You don't have to move them over to the new email address. He could respond to them using the address that they know, or he could respond to them using his new email address. Now, that last read chat was to read Sam's chat. Okay, I did read that. Outlook.com.email. Why? I don't know what you're responding to there. Are you telling me that the email address that he has through his wife's office is Outlook.com? I don't think so. That's not going to be their IMAP server is not going to be receiving email from Outlook.com that is sent to Outlook.com. What? I don't know what you're trying to tell me there. Did I miss something? You might have been responding to something that I specifically was talking about at that moment, but because you didn't do an exclamation mark C, I don't know what piece of what I was saying that you're responding to. The new email account, for setting up a new email account, you're asking if Outlook.com would be great. Yeah, that'd be great. The email account I could suggest for a new email account is Outlook.com. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And configure the old email account to forward the email messages, or configure the email clients to be able to send and receive from the HR inside. He retracted that. He retracted that. Oh, I feel so sad. He retracted. Oh, maybe. Yeah. Because don't worry about the typos if that's why you retracted. I could suggest, yeah, absolutely. That might be, that question might be put to bed. Now, what possible reason could he have for objecting to
Read
that?
chat, please.
Why might he object to that? If anyone's got ideas on why you might object to that, put them in chat. If you are using, still doesn't know how to do the red ball thing right. If you are using a mailbox with IMAP, all the devices you have will be sync, but only the mails, not the calendar nor the contacts. So the calendar and contacts, those are not specific to an email account. So the calendar and contacts could be put into his new Outlook account. So his calendar and contacts would be synchronized. And that was the main problem. It wasn't about emails being synchronized. It was about his desire to have calendar and contacts. So you could export and import the calendar and contacts from his current system to the Outlook.com account. That'll synchronize very nicely across the devices. Then add, I'm pretty sure you can add an IMAP account to the email clients. So on the computer, you'd be adding it to, I don't remember, was he using Outlook as the email client? I think he said that's what he was used to. for those emails. And oh, and here's another thing. In adding the IMAP account to Outlook, it could be added as a secondary account, or it could be added to his, not certain about the mix between Exchange and IMAP here, but added to his Outlook.com account so that all the emails show up in the same inbox. Now, once they're showing up in the same inbox, yeah, those should synchronize across the other devices. The only problem we were having with synchronizing was calendar and contacts. That is solved by using an Outlook.com account. Now, why might he object to that? Is there any reason to possibly object? Another account, different email account. Yeah, it would be a different email address, but he doesn't have to get everybody to send to that new email address. He could inform them about it. You could have an autoresponder set up if you want people to use the other address. But the main thing that we're concerned about here is providing an easy, convenient way, user-friendly, to be able to sync contacts and calendar across all those devices. Having an Outlook.com account will do it fine. He could continue exclusively using the HR Inside account for his email interactions. I think I'm only just formulating this idea. Okay, so let's ask. How about creating a Outlook.com account that would synchronize across all of my clients' devices for email, calendar, and contacts? Export the calendar and contacts from the current system and import them into the Outlook.com account. Then do, I think, any of three options. The first option would be forward emails from the original email address to the new email address. The second option would be to configure the email clients to handle the old email address as a secondary account. The third option would be to configure the Outlook.com account to be able to receive and send emails using the old account address so that all the emails show up in the same inbox rather than as a separate section within Outlook. Spacebar stopped it from listening to me. Kind of a long run-on sentence, and I was contemplating about the part of receive and send emails. I think I've done that. I was contemplating just saying receive at that point, but I thought, no, I'll include send, and that way, if I'm wrong about that, the AI should contradict me. Then now, oops, I've had this set wrong all along. I keep forgetting, you got to change this from quick response to smart GPT. What it does when you select smart GPT is it will decide when it needs to go do deeper research on the internet. Because otherwise, if you're using this quick response, it's just taking its own internal knowledge, and sometimes you get really generic stuff. And also this smart GPT-5 seems to work quicker. So if you're going to use Copilot, always, in my opinion, switch to smart GPT-5. I'm doing this from Edge. I wonder if I'm earning points. That's a very pragmatic direction, Doug. Outlook.com gives you the Exchange Active Sync backbone you've been missing. So calendars, contacts, email sync seamlessly across Windows, iPhone, and iPad. The key is how you bridge the legacy IMAP account into this new environment. Let's break down your 3 options with pros and cons. Core migration, create the account, export, import, configure devices, Outlook as a primary account, Betterbird on Windows, native apps on iOS.
Read chat, please.
Let's see here. Yeah, potential confusion might be reading old email messages from before setting up the new email account. This immediately brought to mind a possible objection to me, but yeah, we'll deal with that Betterbird question in a moment here. A potential confusion might be reading old email messages from before setting up the new email account. Yeah, now the old messages can come into the inbox, and if you go look at the address indicator, you'll see that it came to the old address. And then you can, for Outlook, for instance, you can have Outlook default to your reply being replied from the address that it was sent to, or be replied from the static Outlook.com account that you want to reply to everything. And yeah, there can be confusion if there's needs to be discernment so that the user understands which account did this person send to. In this case, I don't think that's going to be a problem because it's the same person. Whereas if an email was being sent to, info@companyname.com from a website, and an employee in the office is responding to emails, they'll see this email coming from that website encounter, assuming that the sender was sending specifically to that person. And that can create a problem. I want to go
Read
back.
chat, please.
I want to go back and remind myself, was the user accustomed to Outlook? Sorry, I meant the confusion would happen when the client needs to read messages which had been sent to his previous mail long ago, historical stuff. Yeah, there's going to be some user training needed for this, just to teach them to be able to set a filter, to be able to look at the old emails. If it's, let's see, I've had a setup where there's a separate section, separate inbox, yet the email still combined up here. And with the iPhone, you can choose all inboxes, or you can choose a specific inbox for which address you want to look at. So there's a little bit of user training that would have to perhaps have to happen. I can always drag and drop from the old IMAP account to the Outlook.com in his email account. Why would you want to do that? Drag an email from the old IMAP account to the Outlook.com rather than have them automatically come to Outlook.com. Move old emails. Oh, I see what you're saying. For all of his old emails that he's accumulated over the years, you could drag all of them into the Outlook so he can see them all there. Absolutely. Yeah. And I've done that. That makes sense. I understand now. Absolutely on board with that. I've done that because when he's dealing with his new account, you may want to see all those old emails. Now, since it is an IMAP, if you configure in Outlook, for instance, the main inbox has a primary account. And if you have a secondary account that's that IMAP account, they should all just be there. the whole history. Now, was this client accustomed to Outlook? Then we got to talk about new Outlook and how to get the classic Outlook if you're not on a business Microsoft 365 account, because that can be done. He's dealing with familiar Outlook's inability to reliably sync. Yeah, so he is accustomed to Outlook. You would not want to use the new Outlook for that. I don't think it handles outside accounts very well. So you'd want the standard Outlook. And if he has a Microsoft 365 personal account or Microsoft 365 family account, Outlook standard is not included with that. I'm 95% sure I'm recollecting that correctly, but you can get it. So I'm going to look at another screen here to see if I can bring up a link for downloading the standard Outlook. Because it's so much better. I haven't told you why I'm got so irate, more so after the show last week about the new Outlook. Yeah. Let's see. Can I show you this whole screen here? Looks like I can. Yeah, these are just a portion of notes from a Microsoft Word document. All phases from base to deployment. To install Outlook for Windows Classic with the Microsoft 365 Personal or Family, use this link. So if I right click on that, can I copy that to chat, copy hyperlink, and will it work in chat? I'll try just pasting the link first. Yeah, it's not too long. To install Classic Outlook when you don't have a MS 365 business account.
Read chat, please.
Oh, too many letters. Those last two are gray. So let's abbreviate account. Parker Morris says the last read chat. It says, when setting up an email address or account, do you need to select whether it's IPAP, whether it's POP or IMAP? Yes, you do. But if it's an Outlook.com account, in most cases, you'll just select that it's a Outlook account, Outlook.com account. If not Outlook.com, then you might be choosing Exchange. So I'm going to look to see how quickly I can demonstrate that. Of course, when you're setting it up, it depends upon what client software you're using. The setup's going to be different between Outlook and an iPhone and Outlook on the phone and iPad. So when I go to my apps, I went to the O's, and then here's the standard Outlook. So I'm going to open that off screen because I'm not sure what it is currently configured for. It is configured for my main account, and that is all junk mail. Looks like. Yeah, so I can show this screen. Then I'm going to go up to the upper left on the File menu to see what I get when I try to add an account. Yeah, so when I clicked on File, here's what I got. And, oh, DougBetts.com is an IMAP. Oh, yeah, because it's Gmail. Yeah, it's through Google. So Google IMAP is still the current way of doing it. I think I referred to as being old school. Yeah, of course, Google is not going to have Microsoft Exchange servers. All right. I was talking off the top of my head there, obviously. Oh, okay. So then add account, I want to go to. I'm going to click the button off screen because, I'm trying to behave. I had a little delay there before a button's ready for me to push. So clicking add account, and this should be a safe place for me to go to. If it will respond, no response. Let me click the mouse harder, like pressing the button harder at a crosswalk. Yeah, that came up. So then that gave me this screen. Outlook, put in an email address. Based upon the email address you put in, it's going to go search to see what's available. Down here, we could create an Outlook.com. And here's advanced options. Let me set up my account manually. So I would first put in the address that you want to use and see how well it does with finding the right settings. It can find the right settings without it being an Exchange server. So let me set up my account manually. And then you still got to put in the email address. All right, so if I don't put in an email address, let's try DougBetts at LiveWindowsTraining.com because I don't think that's currently configured on my Outlook. I'm going to take that off screen. Okay. And since that's a Google account, Outlook has gone to an OAuth. You can see it up here in the URL. It's gone to an OAuth screen, and this is actually signing into the Google account through Outlook. Now, last week, I don't remember if I demonstrated setting it up. I think I already had it set up, but I was demonstrating this with the new Outlook. I wonder if standard Outlook would do better. Interesting. Would it? I haven't told you the big problem that I discovered with new Outlook. Okay, then up here, when I clicked on that, I got authentication completed. This looks like an error message, doesn't it? It's not. Authentication completed. You may now close this browser tab and return to your Office application. So that should be just an Alt tab to get back to Outlook. Yeah, that's a safe place to go to. So here I'm highlighting the app I want to go to. Something went wrong. Something went wrong. We weren't able to set up your Google account with IMAP. You may need to make changes to your Gmail settings. Okay, so no, it did not work. And then I have to dig deeper to see what it takes to make that work.
Read chat, please.
Beyond the scope of today's show, I think. The account is different. Do you mean I spelled it wrong? I don't know what you mean by that, Zvi. DougBetts Live Windows Training.com. The account is different than what's configured here is my Doug at DougBetts.com. I should go check and see if that's what's configured. Yeah, I don't know what you mean by the account is different. Yeah, the only thing that's configured in there is the Doug at DougBetts.com. And I've had this configuration where
Read chat, please.
I have another email address in here with a different provider. Maybe he's clarified what he meant. Have you enabled IMAP in your account settings? Oh, that could be. In Gmail, you have to enable IMAP I probably have for Doug at DougBetts.com, but not for Live Windows Training. I don't know that I
Read
want
chat,
to
please.
go down that road now. You authenticated in your browser with the different account. Do you mean my Doug at DougBetts.com is what I authenticated as rather than the Live Windows Training? It'd be helpful if you're a little more specific. You assume I remember. He says yes. Okay, so I did it wrong. That's what they're trying to say, Doug. You did it wrong. All right, well, let's try setting it up from here this time. Instead of doing it from the file menu, should be very similar experience.
Read chat, please.
And trying to add a user on live, and you got the website with another account. Okay. All right, let's go see if that happens again. Good catch, guys. At LiveWindowsTraining.com. Then connect. Okay, continue. Microsoft Apps and Services wants access to your Google account. Make sure your Microsoft Apps and Services. This isn't even showing the account
Read
that's
chat,
being
please.
used. Oh, there it is. As if he says, stop. What? I think he's telling me to stop here. Yeah, it's right there. That's the wrong account. So it doesn't let me change that here, does it? And I suppose I would have to sign in this browser to the other
Read
account
chat,
or
please.
just sign out. Sam says press cancel, see what happens. That's a decent idea. Authentication failed or was canceled. Please try again later. How about if I sign out? Not sign into the other one, just sign out of Chrome.
Read chat, please. Read chat, please.
And try manual. Zvi says try the manual settings. Rand says change account in the top right corner where it says work. I could change the account. I'd like to just not use an
Read
account.
chat, please.
Maybe add the other account first in Google, Sam says. So many ways to go. This doesn't actually have a log out, does it? I could switch to one of these other profiles. Open guest profile. Manage Chrome profiles. Browsing as guest, but I still have the other one open and it's still going to default to the other one, I think. If I know Edge is also signed in with my main account, so making Edge my default browser is not going to do it. I'm going to take off screen and go to my grandson's account. See how that works for me. And then, yeah, it wants to verify that it's me.
Read
I'm
chat,
not going to do
please.
that. And says add profile. Yeah, I've known all along that I could do that. I prefer to see what happens if I just sign out completely.
Read chat, please.
So closing that, paste the URL from the authentication, then paste it in another browser with the other account. See, I'm thinking if I can paste it into another browser without any account, then it should allow me to actually dynamically choose an account, is what I'm thinking. Now, I already closed the other browser. So let's come out and see what happens now. So you see, I don't have, the only Chrome I have open is the one for my grandson that's not authenticated. But I have chat open, so I'll close chat. Um, these are also Google things that may be signed in with my account. Now what the heck, close Edge too. Oh, what the heck, close OBS too. No, no, don't do that, Doug. I know. Okay, where will it go now? I know I may wind up doing it the way you've been telling me to do it. And in advanced options would be just the manually. Yeah, there it is. Boom. That's what I wanted. It is defaulting to DougBetts.com. But if I just do DougBetts at, see, as soon as I put the at symbol, then that old one disappeared. See, I've been here before. I've done this. LiveWindowsTraining.com. I don't need to create a new profile. I'd rather not if I'm not actually wanting to use that. And I'm talking about a client's office. I want to be able to do it dynamically. I may not want to be setting up another profile. So there, couldn't find your Google account. Oh, I bet I have something weird set up for that. Or is this, did this go to a screen assuming Google for workplace accounts rather than individual accounts? Or the opposite might be true. My live Windows training might be a Google for workspace, workplace, whatever they call that. Oh, there's another Gmail account I have. I think that's also an account I have. Yes, it is. And that one's going to work. Okay. So here we're going to be able to display this or demonstrate this. In order to do that, I got to go get that password. So I have my password manager closed. There it is. Okay. I can show you my typing in of the password because you can't see it. Now I kind of mashed the keys a little bit there. So I'm going to take that off screen and then click the show password button to make sure I typed it right. I did. And then next. So this does the OAuth authentication. Oh, I did this. I used this account last week, didn't I? Yeah. Sign into Chrome and a new profile. No, I don't want to do that. If I was really wanting to interact with this account, sure, but I don't want to. See the 4 services that Microsoft Apps and Services has some access to. I want to do that. I did not do that last week for the new Outlook. Learn why you're not seeing links to Microsoft Apps and Services privacy policy or terms. Oh, that's different. Learn why you're not seeing links. We're not going to show you our privacy policy or terms of service. Review Microsoft's Apps and Services privacy policy and terms of service to understand how Microsoft Apps and Services will process protect. Well, that looks like a link to me. Now, what does this show me? Read, compose, send, permanently delete all of your Gmail. There is nothing extra that I can give it here. It has all of these rights, which I would want Outlook to be able to do that stuff in response to my clicks, right? So your personal info, it said has some access. The reason I wanted to go see this is are there checkboxes that I can give it more access? That gives you a clue to why I was so upset after the show last week. And then continue. Authentication complete. You may now close this browser, return to your Office application. Yeah, we've seen that before. Here we got it's thinking, adding. We couldn't log on to the incoming IMAP server. Oh, that one probably is not. What was it? Allow IMAP, something like that. Yeah, I gotta go do this, don't I? That's Braden. I guess the best way to do this is just go sign into the account and Gmail. And this is, which one is this? Oh yeah, that's the Gmail account. Manage your Google account. And then let's see, is it to enable IMAP? Is it security? And that does have private information. Remember right, I don't think it was hard to find that.
Read chat, please.
In setting. Am I not in settings? I'm in manage your account, which is not actually setting. There's the settings and gear icon, and then see all settings. Oh yes, oh yes, over here, right? That's right. IMAP access. When I mark a message, I'm going to configure email client Thunderbird. Yeah. I'm at when a message mark archive. So pop is enabled. That's for pop. This is for IMAP. Immediately update the server. How to expand? Wait for the client to update the server when the message is marked. Configuration instructions. So I was expecting to see a enable disable for IMAP. There's enable and disable for POP. That's not what we need, right? We're just totally IMAP. It doesn't look like there's anything to enable here. Third-party applications, less than secure applications. Oh, how about that application password thing? Go take a look at configuration instructions. Add Gmail to other. When you add Gmail, your messages labels are synced. Gmail no longer supports third-party apps which require you to share your Google username and password. Sharing account credentials with third-party makes it instead to sign in with Google, which is a safer way. We did not get a sign in with Google, did we? It did go to OAuth. We didn't have to give it the username and password. It went to OAuth. Okay. With a personal Google account, starting January, the option to choose enable IMAP or disable IMAP won't be available. Oh, IMAP access is always turned on in Gmail, and your current connections to other email clients aren't affected. You don't need to take any actions. To set up Gmail and another email client, open your device, look for an option to sign in with Google. We didn't actually have sign in with Google. We put in an email address that is Google, and it just took us there. That still kind of seems like the right way to go. Change account settings. Seems like Outlook should be able to do this. All right. Oh, I gave up my Copilot session. See you later, Arnold Albert. Okay, so I'm going back to Copilot under Edge. Come up here to
Read
the
chat, please.
Actions menu. Not there. Come over here to the three-dot menu to go to My Conversations. And then this gives me the list of conversations. And there's our current conversation. Oh, okay. Sam's got some additional to report, and I don't have my chat window because I closed it. I'm maneuvering back to my chat window for Sam's most recent comment. Here we go. Just got an email response from my client. He wants to use Classic Outlook for everything. I'm going to now suggest the Outlook.com for calendar and contacts. Yeah. The Outlook.com account technique so that it's easy to synchronize calendar and contacts across them all. And optional whether he keeps interacting with the old email address or not. So meaning he does not want to go to Betterbird or Thunderbird. which I think you're going to be fine with. Now, the calendar and contacts on is Outlook also has
Read chat, please.
Outlook for iPhone, and I assume for iPad as well. So I'm inclined to think that that may work even better than the native apps. Client also said I can check his Outlook further for the email provider. I cannot see anything further than what his IMAP settings say. I don't know what else you're going to see. I don't know what else you expect to see. You've already seen his incoming and outgoing mail server settings. There's nothing else to see. Am I missing something in your statement? John Williams, are you going to save the box opening show for a later week? There's nothing to that box. Come on. You care about that at all? Here you go. Time me. Boom. Cut. 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 There it is. Open box. That's all there is. 6 more B-Link computers. Do you want fries with that? That's all there is to that. So no. I'm not going to say that till next week. You kidding? I gotta set those computers up. I want to know his email provider. It's none of those. His email provider is the incoming and outgoing servers that we saw. There is no other. What other name are you looking for, and for what purpose? This is for if we went down the Betterbird path. Good little machine. Email provider. It's none of the
Read chat,
major
please.
names.
Read chat, please.
Yeah. Do I receive discount on purchase quantity? Yeah, like 20, 30, 40 computers as quantity? No. Client sent another email. I wouldn't handle that by email. Oh, sent another email. He is upset that I suggested another email client. Okay, so now we're into psychology, client psychology. He is upset that you suggested another email client. For a person to be upset about that, I would question, how did you actually pitch that? I have a very finely developed method of pitching something that I don't know how they're going to react, or even that if I'm certain that they're going to be okay with it, I still pitch it in a way that, okay, well, one possibility is we could do this or that. Whereas if you say, well, the only way you're going to be able to do that is to use a different email client, that's too strong. That'll get somebody upset if they really don't want to do that. But I'd rather give them alternatives. We could do this, we could do this, we could do this, and we kind of discuss them a little bit. And you can feel them out without ever coming out with your opinion or your preference being clear. Now, some of you may object to that and say, yeah, but I'm an IT pro or not pro, and I know best. Yeah, but that's going to create friction. And that's not a good way to keep your
Read
client,
chat, please.
whether they're paying money or just paying in terms of appreciation. That's going to make them upset. So you really need a careful. It's not hard, but just approach things with a way where you're not coming out with a real strong. This is what you got to do. Dad helped me write the email stating if your email provider is not Microsoft, we would need to use another email client if you want calendar. Yeah, see, that's too strong. No, I would not. I would not do that. No, no disrespect meant to your dad. Uh, and the techniques that I use for keeping clients happy are not natural techniques that people would automatically understand. Stating if, I mean that's you're giving an ultimatum right here. If such and such, then such and such. I don't like doing that. Well, we could do such and such. We could do such and such, and or maybe if I'm going to use if your email provider, then we need to look at what our options are to get you what you want. But this statement, if your email provider is not Microsoft, and that kind of sounds like a looking down your nose. If your email provider is not Microsoft, doesn't matter that you didn't intend it that way. That's how a person is likely to read it. If your email provider is not Microsoft, because we're a Microsoft shop here, and if you're not Microsoft, then you got just something wrong with you. That's the way that comes across, in my opinion. We would need to use another email client. And that's not true at all. You can use Outlook with an email provider that's not Microsoft. So that is patently not true. You don't need to use another email client. If you want calendar and contacts sync, and now, okay, there's an extra if here. There's a nested if programming terminology, a nested if. If your email provider is not Microsoft, we would need to use another email client if you want calendar and contacts sync. So what we're discussing here as an option is to use Outlook, not another email client, but have the primary account in Outlook be another email address so that you can use that other account, which would be, for instance, Outlook.com, to synchronize calendar and contacts, but have the preferred email that the client wants to use that they've been using all along as a secondary account, but have it show up in the primary inbox, so it looks and feel almost identical. This was before the idea for an Outlook.com email. Yeah, of course. But I'm taking polite with as much love as I can exception to this wording. Of course, that isn't actually copied directly from the email. But using techniques to keep clients happy, there's a lot of nuance that can be done there. And some people would object to my techniques with people because I sense a lot of people that are IT professionals and IT, that's not even the right way. I shouldn't say IT. Windows support practitioners, perhaps that's a decent term. Windows support practitioners, whether you're paid money or whether you're paid in gratitude. The very strong directive, in my opinion, is to keep clients happy. And you cannot keep them happy by telling them what they must do. And I sense in a lot of IT professionals and non-professionals a arrogant attitude that I won't work with them if such and such and so and so. and you tell them how it's got to be. And I'm sorry, that's just, in my opinion, not going to make for a successful career or avocation.
Read chat, please.
Yeah, we are overtime right now. So don't say things like, if sync required equals true, then change email. Oh, that's fast. That's good. If sync required equals true, then change email client, else seek life elsewhere. Rand, that was an outstanding way to respond to that. Zavita San, ask him if he has never changed his residential address, and his answer will direct him to change to a new mailbox name. I don't know. I'd rather that's kind of using an analogy. I'd rather keep it direct on point, but I understand. And yeah, he's not objecting to the address. He's objecting to a different email client. Anywho, we're over time. He has recently moved. And that's a traumatic thing right there. I have resisted moving because I don't want to change my address everywhere that needs to be done. All right, we're into a little bit of overtime here. So Sam, I hope you got some food for thought, and we'll be eager to hear how it goes for you. New Outlook follow-up. It's not long to tell you why I got so further upset. Last week, I started the show very enthusiastic about what I thought the new Outlook was going to do in a good way for me. During the show, we proved that wrong because it would not. Yeah, it was not synchronizing contacts. If I added a new contact on my iPhone, it wouldn't show up on the computer. After the show was over, I found the same thing was true for emails. If I deleted an email in the new Outlook, it did not delete in my Gmail web interface. It behaves, just on the email side alone, it behaves like it's a POP3 account. Downloads the emails. Any management you do with them now in new Outlook is not reflected in the Gmail account. All right. Happy note to go away on. Here's the email address. Have a great weekend, everybody. I will catch you next time around. Goodbye.
That's all, folks.
Tune in 6 days a week for Windows support, the help you seek. Send an email, leave a comment, join the chat. Our tech-savvy crew is where it's at. Not just me, but a whole community, helping you solve tech mysteries. With friends who are here almost every day, we love to chat and help you find your way. So subscribe now, be part of the team, for Windows support and more than you dream. Join the fun, don't miss a single stream. At LiveWindowsTraining-DougBetts or simply where tech support supreme. Where tech support supreme. Tune in 6 days a week for Windows support, the help you seek. friendly crew is where it's at. Not just me, but a whole community, helping you solve tech mysteries. With friends who are here almost every day, we love to chat and help you find your way. So subscribe now, be part of the team, for Windows support and more than you've dreamed. Join the fun, don't miss a single stream. And LiveWindowsTraining-DougBetts, or simply more deeply VB, we're tech support supreme. We're tech support supreme. We're tech support supreme. Tech support supreme. We're tech support supreme. We're tech support supreme. We're tech support supreme.